Hey all. So I just finished the Shang-Chi Celebrity Challenge yesterday, and between that and some accumulated shards that I have, we have this 5-star Nexus, a feature 5-star opening where I was kind of looking for synergies, especially Jabari, and then two featured 6-star crystals. I am still going for this particular feature because of Jabari, Mojo dupe, a Shang-Chi, potentially a dupe on my Mr. Negative. When I missed five of them in a row a couple weeks ago, I said that, well, fine, I'm going to go ahead and take my Masacre to rank 3, because in my experience, when I go ahead and use the resources that I would need to take a Shang-Chi or a Jabari up, that tends to be a pretty decent indication that maybe I'll get them, right? That's just kind of how it's worked out for me. And at this point, it doesn't make me upset or anything. It's just part of how the game goes for me. So while these reels are going, I'd also like to talk about the Shang-Chi challenge and just kind of give my thoughts on it. I want to say first off that I really appreciate what they were going for. Like, that combination of nodes does make you dramatically change up your playstyle, and there's some really interesting consequences of that. However, there are basically two things about it that bugged me. All right, while this lands. Okay, so 20 more SIGs on Stormex. I think that her signature ability is almost worthless, but she is rank 3, so if it's worth something, then I'll get to use it, right? And this surprised me. So that strategy worked yet again. I ranked Masacre. I now don't have a skill T5CC, and there you go. I pulled Jabari. So I'm going to go ahead and level her up here while I continue to talk about the event. So the two things that bug me, first off, is that they used True Focus again. And I understand completely what they were going for. We all know at this point that True Focus is put in to make a piece of content harder by forcing you to engage with the nodes without using Quake or Ghost. Let's be real, it's pretty much just those two. The problem is that once they crossed out Quake and Ghost, the best answer for most people was a duped Corvus. And I feel like if your response to, oh, these two champions over here are overpowered, we'd like to limit their usage and content, results in most of the player base going, oh, I'm going to use this other overpowered, cheesy character to get through this content now, then I feel like you kind of missed the mark. In addition, fights like this with really high block damage are exactly where some of the other cool champions in the contest should be able to shine. Like, that's where I would want to see like Elsa Bloodstone. I would want to see if she can take off. I would want to see maybe the Hood with his new buff, especially if he brings any of those synergies that increase how many guaranteed misses he has. Maybe he could do something. Professor X might be able to work Mr. Negative between his incredibly high block proficiency and his evade. Like, there's so many champions out there that are really interesting that I would like to see for this. And the Perforate node with its unblockable specials, maybe, we finally see somebody really get good use out of Spider-Gwen. Or, personally, I probably would have tried Mr. Fantastic if he had had his evade chance, especially with all those unblockables. I feel like it could have been really interesting, but instead it was kind of like, do you have Corvus? Because then this is going to be pretty easy. You're just going to be hitting into their block. And if you don't have Corvus, well, Killmonger can kind of do it, but let's be honest, it's a little AI dependent. Kitty Pryde, a brand new champion that the vast majority of us do not have. I do have a rank 5, but that's kind of beside the point because a lot of people don't. Can get through it. I mean, I didn't spend that much on it. This wasn't that bad for me. But it just felt like they were trying to get us to use other parts of our rosters by crossing out those two champions that we know bother them. and as a result, crossed out like 10 more beyond them and limited the pool of good options down to only a handful. And that's kind of my issue with True Focus in general. So I really hope that we don't keep seeing it. I don't know, it's just not my favorite thing. I get what they're going for. I don't think this is the answer. The other thing about it is that for all of the cool parts of this particular challenge, they know that the game is still in a not awesome place input wise. And I cannot personally remember another piece of content within the last few years where the difference between dexing and parrying accidentally has been quite so critical. I mean, short of like the stunning reflection node in high tier war, where if you go to dex and accidentally parry, then you yourself get stunned and get wrecked, that's not fun. Short of that, most of the time, if you accidentally parry somebody, you're just like, well, now it's going to be a little harder for me to bait out this special that I'm going for. But if you do that here, and you don't have indestructible charges from somebody like Killmonger, accidentally parrying can either cost you 4 of your precious charges with Corvus, or it can flat out kill you or at least take off like 20% of your health with anybody else. It's a big deal. And like that and all the unblockable specials, most of which are pretty easy to dodge. But it just feels like this particular piece of content, even with True Focus, would have been a lot more enjoyable several months ago, or maybe a couple months from now when things get better. So I kind of question, I don't question their timing. We know why it came out now because the movie's out now, but that seems like just a bummer of how things lined up. It's not really their fault. I know that a lot of people are very angry at Kabam right now. I personally think the compensation we've got has been very appropriate for AQ, for war in general. Um, for most of us, we don't have to push really hard permanent content right now. So if the revive compensation didn't cover you pushing permanent content, that's not really on Kabam anymore. And I feel like the original issue wasn't their fault. They had to update, and it did break things. And I do believe that they are trying to get back on it. So I don't really hold that against them. It's just kind of unfortunate how that lined up. Anyway, I do like seeing new characters, like Negative was in this. I like seeing Tiger as an interesting defender. There are a lot of things I really enjoyed about the challenge. It is just those two things that bugged me. And overall, I mean, it was worth it for me because finally I got one of the big pulls that I've been hoping for from the beginning of this crystal. Now I have Jabari. I don't know exactly when I'm going to rank her up. I mean, I'm really close on that last T5B, but I also may go ahead and do the Cyclops Karina challenge to get that 1 to 2 generic gem and hold on to my tier 5 basic. Yeah, we'll see, but I'll definitely be taking her up soon. I will be playing around with her. I know that Buddy Lee is a big fan of not just what she can do, but how fun she is to play, and I value his opinion on those kinds of things. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I am really looking forward to having access to the Tigress synergy, because I don't think I had Jabari at any star level before this, which is why I opened that featured 5-star. So yeah, overall, I am stoked. This has been a great weekend, and for any of you out there who have not yet completed the Shang-Chi challenge, I'll just say good luck. I hope that whatever issues you're having with the game, they are minimal throughout it. And if you're not having any issues with the game, then awesome. Enjoy it. I think you're going to get a better impression of what Kabam was going for here than some of the rest of us, and that is a very cool thing. Until next time, take care.